All right, how you getting on? How's things? Hi, how you getting on? Welcome to. I haven't quite figured out a name for this space station set that I'm on right now. But what I do know is I found a little alcove in a wall, and I've always been a man for crawling into small spaces and wanting to live in there. I used to we'd get boxes, and I'd be like, I'm going to live in there, ma'am. And she'd be like, okay. And I want my dinner in there. And I'm going to cut out a little eye hole so I can watch the TV. But don't look in, okay? I've always been into that kind of thing. Hovels have always been, even though I kind of find the hobbits despicable and dirty. And I'm not a clean, tidy dude. But, those hobbits are dirty. Too dirty for me, I've talked about this, maybe the idea of settling down with a nice plump hobbit. But anyway, look, on the topic of me being attracted to things, I should never be publicly confessing. With the help of associate producer of the pod, Ben Clifford, he has helped me compile the list of the top 32 hottest video game animals. I told Derry about this, and I was like, I'm doing video game characters, and she was like, oh, amazing. So, Tifa and those kind of anime. And I was like, no, animals. Animals. And she's like, oh. I was watching as well. Watching Ford versus Ferrari last night. And it's a flick, also called Le Mans 66. And the Christian Bale plays Ken Miles, the Ford driver and, mechanic and kind of genius driver. And he's got a son. His son is in it the whole time. And there's a bit at the end. And it's a genius bit of kind of, exposition, where they have to kind of explain the race ahead of time, and how they choose to do it is the son draws a map of the track, because they're going to Le Mans. He has to drive for 24 hours and win, right? And his son draws a map, and he's like, go around that bend, and then you go around, and it's all very cute. And I feel like, what is my legacy if I sit down with my son? It's, Dad, like, what is it about sexy cats that you love so much? Well, son, it's not about their tails. It's actually about their eyes. So I don't really have a legacy, but this is my legacy. And look, hey, I really enjoy it. And I want to thank the sponsor of this podcast. Yeah, you better believe it. The Dubliner Irish Whiskey. I have to say, I've been really enjoying their honeycomb liqueur as of late. I've been sitting there with a bit of ice, essentially drinking candy, and I love it. You will have to pull upon all of your, your willpower to drink it responsibly, but you will. And that's the only way I can promote it. And go to thedld.com if you want to grab yourself a tipple of that. And so look, I'm also here. You have a little thing behind me, a little window into space, as you can see. So there will be a bit of a multimedia element to this. If you're listening to the pod, you're not going to miss much. It'll still be me perving over fucking Donkey Kong. But if you are watching this on the YouTube, can I ask you to do something for me? Even if you actually are just listening to this, can you go to my YouTube? And can you subscribe? And can you hit the little bell? The little bell, babe. The little bell. Can you hit the little bell notification so that you don't miss any of my things? And you don't have to look at them all. But if you do subscribe, I would love to get up to 10,000 subscribers within a year's time. I'm on 5,000 now. And my output is dog shit, right? And I would love to eventually someday get one of those coveted, even bronze, big badges that they send you from YouTube, because I read in a book that you are more likely to go to the Olympics than get one of those. So guess what? I'm going fucking Olympics, mate. I'm going to get one of them. All right. So if you could do that for me, it would really help my videos find the algorithm on YouTube. And also, if you're not in the arse doing that, maybe go over Spotify, give this a like and a review on Apple Pods. Look, I'm all over the place, but look, that's because I'm very horny at the moment. And if you notice something about my eye, is that I have a scar. And it's actually quite cool. I actually think it's quite becoming of me. I mentioned this on my Instagram. Fucking dose. Serious dose. You'd swear the doll Aaron were in the house, how bad the dose was. Because my son was ill. He was sad. And anyway, he was very sick. Wasn't very well, right? And he was in a room next to me. We've got an adjoining bathroom. And I woke up and I felt like I was being sucked off in the Matrix, right? Sucked out of the Matrix, rather. And I didn't know what was going on. I didn't have my glasses. I was like Macaulay Culkin dying at the end of My Girl. He needs his glasses. I needed my glasses. I couldn't see. And Terry was in there trying to get my attention to come in so we could swap, right? And he was hooking up along. And I thought I had my hand on, we have these new fucking fire doors, you know, which are not as cool as they sound. They should actually just be called heavy as fuck doors. That's what they should be called. Listen, I was trying to pull the door off to get to my son, right? And I accidentally grabbed the bathroom door, which is not a heavy door. And I went clunk, and I smashed my head. And I smacked his head, right? And I started bleeding down my face. And I was bleeding down my face. I didn't make a big thing about it, but Terry was like, where are you? Where are you? What's going on? And I'm like, I'm bleeding down my face. And she goes, do you need stitches? And I'm like, I don't know. No, it's fine. And I got into bed with him with a towel over my head, soaking with a little bit of blood, small bit of blood. And Terry laughed her fucking ass off at me the next day. And I tried to be real, like, that's actually not funny. It's actually not funny. You know, I tried to be like dead behind the eyes, but that's actually not funny. But there was no convincing her it wasn't funny. She was laughing about it. She looks at me and laughs at me. She says it looks handsome, but she did laugh at me. So maybe I'm going to laugh at her next awful thing that happens to her. But anyway, moving on. That's just to point that out. That's a scar. And I want to thank associate producer of this podcast, Mr. Ben Clifford, for his assistance on this hot video game animal tournament. Let me break it down for you. We got 32 of the hottest, most fuckable animals that have ever been in a bit format since the formation of the early arcade games. Okay, straight up to now. Also, Ben, sorry, your thank you was coming in a second. I need to say a huge thank you to Alex McGonigal. Let me tell you about this genius, Alex McGonigal. Put the feelers out a couple of weeks back saying, does anyone know how I can get transcripts of my podcast? I want to compile all of my stories and kind of have a dossier of all of my jokes that I've written, right? And Alex McGonigal built an online cloud computer to download every episode of my podcast, put it through an AI, and has transcripts, and just sent me a link to every word I've ever said. I was fucking blown away. I couldn't believe it. Alex, you got a goodie bag coming your way. This is like TCC all of a sudden, children's channel. But thank you, Alex. I really, really do appreciate it. I know I've been chatting to you, but I wanted to say publicly, I really appreciate the very kind genius that you are. And look, tickets for any gig you want. I'm really grateful. Thank you very much for that. You have saved me oodles of time and a wad of cash. You really could charge me a lot. I don't know. Yeah, but thank you very much. I really appreciate it, brother. Thank you very much. And hopefully and also he sent me this kind of like this analysis. If you put it through this kind of like analysis software to see when words come up the most, and you know, and fucking were the most, and I'm, you know, it's a real journey as the ego is seeing everything that I say. It's really a lot about me, but I like it that way. Anyway, Alex, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. So thank you for that, brother. I also want to thank Ben Clifford. Ben came to me with this idea. He's like, you should do fuckable video game animals. And I'm like, okay, absolutely. Absolutely, because that's my wheelhouse, okay? In the same way that Ken Miles is a genius at going around a track, I'm a genius at analysing and really thinking about the things people don't want to think about when it comes to having sex with things you shouldn't have sex with. I wouldn't have sex with them. Listen, let me tell you this. If an actual, like, Candy Kong, you know, arrived on my lap, I wouldn't know what the fuck to do with it, right? If Maid Marian from the Robin Hood movie actually was here and she was like, just kiss me, I'm even getting nervous now thinking about it. I would turn into an absolute glass of water. I would turn into like the liquid man that senator turns into in X-Men movies, which you can't watch anymore because of the Bryan Singer thing. He's allegedly a can I say that on a video? He's got a nonce-like he's got nonce-like history. Anyway, we're going to move on. We're going to start this tournament. The tournament of the most fuckable, sexiest video game animal characters. Here we go. Kicking it off. And obviously, as you can see behind me, we'll be seeing some of these. We'll take a moment from staring out into the blankness of space. Also, if you have a good name for my space station / spaceship, you know, Deep Space Plune, something like that, let me know in the YouTube comments or message me if you think of a good idea for a name for this kind of space station studio, because I'm delegating all of my jobs these days. So listen, We're going to kick off the tournament in a second, but I know a lot of people don't want to listen to that shit. So let's see if I can talk about something else, just for someone else, right? And then we'll get into it. What we're going to be doing is we're going to do the first 8 scraps, 16 scraps in the first round. The first 8 scraps will be on this pod. Patreon pod will have the next 8 scraps. And then the next episode will have the semi-final, the quarter, semi, and final, right? This is a 3-part. But don't worry, it's not a whole all-encompassing me talking about animals I want to, I don't want to do anything. I'm just saying if you were to, which would be the best to do, But, of course, there'll be other patented Tony Cantwell patter within all of that. So what else? What else been going on with me? I told you about my scar. Yeah, that was really the whole weekend, really, was the young fella not feeling the best, a bit poorly. And we were like, oh, God, he's not feeling well. Jesus Christ, will we get Chinese? Like, what is that related to that? Oh, God, he's not very well. Will we get Chinese? Ah, God, he's still not well on a Sunday. Oh, God, we go to McDonald's. Ah, the poor little fucker. Will we get breakfast roll? I know he's not eating. Somehow it just felt right. It's a bit draining, And I know he's not feeling well, but he'd just be lying on you. And the snuggles you'd be getting. We were reading this dinosaur book. Terry went off, right? He's obsessed with dinosaurs at the moment. She went off to TK Maxx to get a few bits, right? And she came back, and there was like a pack in TK Maxx. It was a pack of 5 books, right? And they were the most amazingly illustrated dinosaurs doing everything, right? You can see a couple of pics here, right? There was like Dinosaur Vroom, and it's just dinosaurs driving different types of cars, but like really well-drawn cars and really well-drawn dinosaurs driving cars, right? Dinosaurs in space. Dinosaur pirates were honestly the most intricately detailed pirate battle that I've ever seen in a book, but with dinosaurs, right? Like raptors swinging off the things, and like baryonyx, the dinosaur I found out, like trying to stab him and stuff, right? His mind was fucking blown. When you notice the Venn diagram, he loves space, loves pirates. He's into pirates these days as well. Into pirates, into space, into cars. There's dinosaur diggers and all this stuff, right? He's watching all that, And this is like, when you see, it's the same thing that happens to me when there's like a Venn diagram of something, 2 things I love. I'm like, and you just hit this kind of joy. It's like seeing Space Odyssey, It's like seeing the fucking crest of a planet, and you're like, you just can't believe what you're seeing, But there was one, the Dinosaur Room one. It's all these dinosaurs driving. They're clearly driving somewhere, and they all have presents in their little cars, right? There's like a T-Rex driving a truck, and he's got a big, massive gift wrap present in the side from the passenger seat. There's Stegosaurus driving a truck, and he's got a present. There's a raptor on the back of a fucking bike, and he's got a present. And they're all going to the woods, and they set up a big, long table, put all the presents on it, and loads of food, and they're having a surprise party for the littlest dinosaur, right? And the little dinosaur comes out, and they're like, surprise! I was reading this to my son, and he goes, I want to go there. And I was like, what? I want to go to the woods where the dinosaurs are having a party. And it kind of broke my heart that I'm like, you can never go there. No, never. Never. You can never go there. I know. It's unfair. I love that you think you can go there, but we can never go there. Of course we'd love to go there. I'd love to go there. Do you think I want to be here eating Chinese with you? I want to go there. I would rather eat a Chinese with him, to be fair. No, I could rather be with him than go to a dinosaur surprise party in the woods. But it was just like, I want to go there. And he was so upset that he couldn't go there. And I kind of hope that he keeps that level of ambition in his, for the rest of his life, being like, well, I guess I got to figure out a way to bring dinosaurs back and make them not want to eat me and make them want to get me presents. But I'm going to fucking make it happen. Maybe you can do it in sort of Roblox, But I thought I want to go there. And I was like, no. And I have to be harsh with him. I can't be like, well, maybe. My mom, right? My mom would be like, maybe someday you can go. And I'm like, what do you mean? And she'd be like, I don't know. You were upset a second ago, so I said, that's why I said maybe you can go there. Maybe someday you can go. I mean, she's right. I could probably get on Fiverr. That's the website where you can outsource people to do design. And I'd be like, could you build like a VR game for me where dinosaurs are giving me presents? And I could probably do that for like £8, But I mean, really be there. you know. So that was the weekend really, and just kind of getting this whole thing kitted out. I'm gonna, there's a bit of an echo in here. Is there an echo in here? Is there a parrot in here? That's the one. If someone's repeating what you're saying, is there a parrot in here? That's one of my favorite ones. But yeah, I need to get that kind of kitted out. But I'm enjoying this little alcove that I found. There used to be a little wardrobe in here. I was like, fuck that, get me in there. Wardrobe, fuck that. Oh, it's have a great joke as well. Will I say that here now? No, I'm going to save it for the live show. I thought one joke. That's how all these are great jokes that I'm saying right now. But they're not like jokes. I don't really tell jokes because I can't, because I'm not good at them. Anyway, moving on. Look, let's get into the competition here. That's a bit of preamble now, so hopefully you've enjoyed that. And then you're like, oh, fuck, now he's going to talk about riding Mario or something. Mario's not an animal. So, I watched the Mario trailer. And a lot of people kicking off. This is how mad it's got, right? People are kicking off because Chris Pratt is not doing... No, he's not Italian. He's not doing an Italian voice. Right? And they're like, Mario's Italian. This is how the kind of Ouroboros snake eats its own tail of outrage, right? They're like, well, they're obviously saying, it should have been an Italian. But if it's Chris Pratt, then he should be doing an Italian accent. It's so insane how you can just get away with anyone doing an Italian accent. You're not punching down because they got a high enough GDP in Italy, right? But Jesus Christ, some of the shit you can get away with doing an impression of Italians, I can do that. That's insane, You can do all that shit. It's mad, right? And they're like, why isn't Chris Pratt doing that? They should have got, but he's doing like some sort of Bronx accent, which I like because it's a callback to Bob Hoskins. Bob Hoskins doing his Mario Brothers movie. So, anyway, let's start this thing, all right? The first in the contest of the hottest video game animals is Funky Kong from the Donkey Kong game franchise, Donkey Kong Country franchise, versus Lakitu. Now, look, on the surface, you're thinking Funky Kong. He's got incredible legs. He's got like Shane Dan Burns legs, right? A little vest, pecs that won't quit, right? Sunglasses, which look cool. Everyone looks more attractive in sunglasses. A little bandana, maybe his little earring. I can't quite see from here. He's cool. He's funky. You go to him and he gives you bananas or he gives you shit, coins or whatever. I don't remember the fuck what he does, but I know whenever you saw him in the game, it was a good day. He surfs. Probably does a bit of BMX on the side. He's a lot. All right? He's a lot. People who are like into extreme stuff, I just feel like everyone's running away from something. Do you know what I mean? Everyone's running away from something. I'm doing it in the bottom of a fucking 4-1, right? He's doing it by skydiving. But we're all running away from something. Or not. Maybe I'm just looking down the bottom of a fucking 3-1 and I'm trying to figure that out. 4-1. But something about Lakitu. Lakitu's kind of cute. Lakitu, a bit mousy. I mean, if he moved to the big city, he'd be chewed up and spat out. His shell would just be like, and it'd be like bouncing up and down the walls, right? But what's he got under that cloud? Come on. What's he got under that cloud? It's like a little dress. He's got a little cloud dress, and the cloud's happy as well. Cloud's fucking delighted to have his bare bollocks touching off his head, right? He knows a lot about cars. He's obviously, knows a bit about Formula 1. He's an incredible cinematographer, as you know. Comes out. He's always got stuff on a fishing rod. He's a good-looking guy. The thing is, Funky Kong is the sort of guy I used to think people would think was cool. And then I realized that, like, girls don't really like cool things like magic. Girls don't like magic. Surfing is cool if it's kind of like integrated with like a kind of like, and he goes surfing as well on the weekends. But if it's all about surfing, they're like, yeah, I'm all right, It's all day, every day surfing. Like he's got a red face and wears all that fucking white shit on his nose. Like, all right, yeah, nice one. Off to Doolin again, are you? Going off to Doolin. Gonna catch some big fucking waves, man. You're gonna come to Doolin. Like, all right. Like Funky Kong's running a shack in Lahinch. Lakitu just opened up a bar in Ennis-Timon with a bunch of other influencers. Do you know what I mean? Look, who am I fucking kidding? I don't care what kind of hog Lakitu's hiding under that cloud. I'm a sucker for a cool dude, right? I'm Jake Summers. I'm James Dean. I'm get a guy on a motorbike, on a surfboard, with a leather jacket, shredding a guitar. I'm a sucker for it. Funky Kong's going through to the next round. Congratulations, Funk. All right, next one. All right, next up we have Frogger versus Donkey Kong. Okay, now listen. On the surface, you're looking at Frogger. You're thinking, what is he? 30 pixels max? What am I going to do with him? How am I going to get my rocks off with this fucker, right? The thing about Frogger is he's crazy, all right? And addictive. You just can't stop thinking about him. You just want another shot at him, even though he's mad. He's the sort of guy you go to a bottomless brunch with, right? And he looks the waitress in the eyes and he's like, you better fucking come back over here, right? Don't go fucking walkabout. We only have 90 minutes in this kip, right? You better be back here with that pitcher of Aperol. You know, I'm getting my money's worth here. And you're kind of a bit like, ha ha ha. But as the pictures are going along, you're like, you're actually kind of being a bit of a dick. And then he runs out into the middle of fucking, South William Street. Almost gets hit by a fucking truck. And you're like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And then he's like, starts eating a bunch of bugs. And you're like, this is crazy. Why am I in love with you? Why do I want to keep coming back to you? You came out in 1981. Why would I still love a game of Frogger? You know? Then you got Donkey Kong. Another OG of the arcade scene. 1981, Donkey Kong comes out. Shigeru Miyamoto, inventor of Donkey Kong and Mario and pretty much all the big players in Nintendo. This was a knockoff of Popeye was the original game. They were meant to make, there was going to be Popeye going up the thing to get whatever her name is, fucking stupid. I always thought Popeye was too hot for it, wasn't it? Olive oil? She's rank. She's rank. I think she's so unattractive. Like, I'm not saying that I'm wrong with girls. You know, Shelley Duvall's very attractive, you know? But she is rank. And Popeye's actually a good-looking dude. Bluto's a good-looking dude. I know that's not right for me to say. I've always thought, like, what's he fucking wasting her time? I mean, I don't want to see a woman get kidnapped against her will. But, you know, you don't ever want to see that. But I don't like her. Anyway, Shigeru Miyamoto was meant to make a game based on that, and then they lost the license. So he's like, all right, I'm making fucking King Kong with a plumber and Pauline. It wasn't Princess Peach. Anyway, he's an OG of the arcade scene, is our donk. And do you know what else I like about him? Chap knows what fucking clothes are. He's wearing a tie. So he's like, yeah, I heard of clothes. Check out my cock anyway. You know what I mean? I know what clothes are. And I don't really want to wear clothes, but I like to kind of rock that kind of aesthetic of the end of a Magic Mike show, where it's like cacks off, the Diodors have been flung, the thing has been pulled, and you're just wearing the tie. And you're like, all right. And he makes his own ties as well. Has his name printed on them. Frogger, I like. You're crazy. Why you make me do these things? You've actually ruined our Saturday. It's only 2:00 and you're pissed. You know, running in the middle of traffic. But it's got to be the donk. And for that reason, you got Donk and Funk fighting it out in the next round. Congratulations to Donkey Kong. All right, next one. Next up, you got Banjo and Kazooie, and you got Knuckles. I'm not going to lie. I think Banjo's the bear, and I think Kazooie's the thing, and then you got Knuckles. Look, come on. Don't bullshit me. Come on, man. Come on. You're talking about Knuckles. Like, I don't know what it is about Knuckles. When I was growing up, I was like, I think he's kind of hot. Like, I want to be him. I want everything to do with him. I need to know about this guy. He can fly. He kind of has dreads. And he's got big sharp knuckles and he punches shit. What the fuck is an echidna? Right? I don't know what that is. I know what a hedgehog is. I know what a fox is. I liked Tails. When Knuckles came along, I was like, who the fuck is Tails? You know? You like Sonic, he's cool. He's fast. He's got a bad attitude. He does that when you're wasting time. He looks at his watch. He's like, what the fuck are you doing? Right? Then Tails comes along and you're like, all right, maybe because I'm a younger brother, my older brother's Sonic and I'll be Tails. And he's also cuter. And that's kind of more my kind of vibe right now because I don't really know what the fuck's going on because I got a small brain. Then Knuckles comes along and I'm like, who is she? Who is she? I need to know everything about this guy. What, and the fact that you have to, like, you can only play him, you get Sonic and Knuckles. Sonic 3 happens, maybe, or Sonic 2, and then you have the cartridge, and then you put the fucking thing, and you're playing as Knuckles in the game with an extra booster cartridge. It's almost like I had to hack my way into this just to play Knuckles. I was obsessed with this guy. Nothing against Banjo and Kazooie. I didn't really fuck with that. Look, Banjo is a beautiful man. Okay? He's got gorgeous, stunning eyes. He's got lovely lips. But that's actually sometimes when a man has stunning eyes and really long eyelashes and beautiful lips, and you're like, are you actually wearing lipstick? Because your lips are so plump and beautiful. But then does nothing else for their aesthetic, you know? Wears a checkered shirt tucked into their jeans, pair of fucking pennies, you know, kicks, which, whatever. Some of them are better now. Pair of pennies, kicks, and then, like, goes into the barber to ask for a number 5 all over. Do you know what I mean? But you're like, but Jesus Christ, there's so much potential in your face. You know? That's the kind of vibe I get with Banjo. He's a nice guy, right? A nice guy's finished last. Like, he doesn't even look like kind of an Aiden from Sex and the City, kind of woodsman. Nice guy, good with his hands. Just seems a bit, you know, geography teacher from Roscommon kind of vibes. Not having a go at anyone who does that, who is that. But again, against Knuckles, come on. The mysterious, the brooding, the angry, fucking kick the fucking shit out of me. Punch me, Knuckles, right? Leave me in the fucking proving drawer to think about my sins. You know what I mean? That's more. Now, the thing about Knuckles is he has a pair of massive fucking shoes. You know, sometimes you checking someone and you're like, this guy's got a good aesthetic. He's got good hair. It's a pretty cool jacket. Pretty cool kicks. And then he's wearing fucking massive DC clown skate shoes. And you're like, oh my God. Why did this have to happen? How could we let this happen? You know, that's Sopranos meme. How could we let this happen? How could this happen? You know, it's awful. Now, ignoring the shoes, you know, maybe if you got with them, you could change that. It's like, bro, you haven't picked up a fucking skateboard since you were 22. Now you're 35. You're still rocking those DC shoes. But it's still Knuckles. It's still Knuckles all the way. Next up, you got Panda / Kuma. But I'm going to ignore Kuma and focus on Panda. Panda and Bowser. Okay, wow. This is tough because what you have here is the most iconic video game villain of all time. There's always been an element as well, like he's another grabbing man, right? And they've tried to change it in recent years. Oh no, he's actually just grabbing her to the... I mean, he literally in the most recent game steals this woman and forces her to marry him, you know? Very problematic stuff. Also, like, destroys kingdoms as well while doing so, you know what I mean? But he's got cool little hair. He's a good father, you know? You know, I wish he could go about... He's big as well. I think that's attractive. He's ginger. You know, he's got that going for him. He's got a kind of Damian Lewis kind of thing going on. He's a good-looking guy. But look at Panda's little hat. We're talking about a panda here, okay? We're talking about a panda with little bangles and, like, you know, little fucking pink, like, beret. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what I would do if I got with a panda. I wouldn't do anything mad, but I would love to cuddle a panda. And I think I could find myself, like, lying with a panda. You know, it's maybe like golden hour. We're lying in a bed. I'm looking over her shoulder, or his shoulder, and their shoulder. And out the window, like, the sun is either setting or rising. And I'm just, like, being in a kind of moment with them. Like, you know, in a movie where like a Christopher Nolan movie, where the protagonist remembers their dead wife, which seems to happen in, like, every movie because he doesn't like wives being alive. You know, and it's all like white sheets and golden hour, and you're like staring, and you're just staring in the eyes. You know, I could see myself having that moment with Panda. I could see myself waking up in the morning, just looking over her, or them, or him, thinking I'm the luckiest fucker in the world. Thank God I have an unlimited supply of bamboo that I can keep this thing in this room with me. You know, I like it's mad, but like this is not the most iconic video game characters of all time. This is not the most, you know, the greatest villains of all time. I'm talking about the hottest video game animals. Bowser is a kind of turtle. He's a Koopa. He's a King Koopa. and he's got a good thing going for him. But when it comes down to, it's got to be Panda. It's got to be Panda. So Panda, congratulations. You are through to the next round where you are going to be absolutely trounced by Knuckles. I'm sorry. There's not a fucking hope of it. This is mad. I see. I did not have a dog in this race or an echidna, in this race. And I'm discovering this off the top of my fucking head, as you can see, in this very well planned and rehearsed video game competition. But I'm finding it very interesting. Finding out really where my yums, where my yums lie. All right, next up you got Isabell from the Animal Crossing franchise versus a Chocobo from Final Fantasy. They're beautiful creatures, Chocobos, in the same way that a horse is magnificent. But I'm no Mr. Hands. I've got no interest in actually really hooking up with a horse. In the same way, I don't know if I really have an interest of hooking up with a Chocobo. They're stunning creatures. I would like to ride one on its back in the Gold Saucer in a race, or across the terrain of Final Fantasy VII. But I don't know if I'm attracted to them in that way. I love the little tuft of hair on their top. I love the plumage out of their backside. Right, it's stunning. I would actually probably prefer to eat one, if all truth be told. And then you got Isabell, of course, who I'm already in love with her. I'm in love with her. Okay. I'm in love with you. I love your little black nose. I love your little tooth. Okay? I love your little top knot. I love how you smile at me in the morning. I love your announcements, even though a lot of them are bullshit and they're boring. And I log into the game and I'm like, do you have any actual good news? Any new villagers? And she says nothing. And I'm like, but I'm still in love with you. I'd be the sort of person that would move to that island, that Animal Crossing island, right? A broken man. And then I would totally misinterpret her hospitality as like affection and fall in love, absolutely head over heels in love with her. I'm like, I'm in love with Isabell. What am I going to do? We live on the same island. She can never leave. She's not one of those villagers that comes and goes, And then she'd be like, where do you want to set up your house? You want to move your house? And I'd be like, here's all your fucking nook dollars or whatever it is. I need to move my gaff right here outside the square so I can see you going to work every morning because I'm in love with you. So there's that. So it's Isabell. Although I can't see myself, I see ourselves going on a date. I feel like we go on like 5 dates before I could even kiss her because she's perfect. And I want to eat a Chocobo. So I think that solves that. So Isabell makes it through to the next round where she will take on Panda from Tekken. All right, next up you have Conquer the Squirrel versus Epona, the horse from Ocarina of Time. This is Link's horse from Zelda. Look, I just don't find horses attractive in that kind of way. Once a saddle has been put on something, I just don't see it in that kind of way anymore. With the greatest respect to anyone who wants to wear a saddle. I just don't really find you that attractive in that kind of way anymore. And look, I don't want to actually hook up on any of these things, just to set the record straight. I'm just saying, like, who's the hottest, right? And Epona, I love Epona. I think they're a majestic, beautiful creature. When you get Epona in the game, it's one of the greatest joys of video game history is when you actually go to the farm and you're able to, ride Epona around and it's one of the greatest video game moments is getting Epona back. So I don't want to tarnish that with my smut. Conquer, he got a great sense of, he knows his flicks. He knows his Kubricks. He knows his Spielbergs. He knows his Wachowskis. There's some great film references in Conquer's Bad Fur Day. He's funny. He's wisecracking. But he's kind of like a bit of an old comic, like an old comedian. He's kind of like, like some New York comedian, and I'm not into that kind of vibe. I don't find that attractive, He's the sort of guy who just roasts you. His bird, on the other hand, Barry, she's a total knockoff of Lola Bunny. Can you even put them through? No, I can't sub one out. Well, maybe I can. I'm going to sub it out. Because she's going to be trounced by Isabell next week anyway. I'm going to sub her out. I'm going to sub in Berry, and Berry's going to go through. Berry from Conquer's Bad Fur Day, who is just, look, I know these characters are not the best. It's a fucking squirrel at the end of the day. But I know they don't. There's some very bad stereotypes for women in video games. Of course there is. And movies, Does that make them any less attractive? Unfortunately, no. Should there be better characters. Like I was saying this to Terry, I was like, I don't really get Zendaya in Spider-Man, and she was like, it's not fucking for you. There's also just girls who just want to be a bit more irreverent and tough and aloof and fun, while also being attractive, And I'm like, I don't know, it feels a bit one note, and she's like, you just don't get it. And I'm like, I don't get it, But she's like, she's not for you. She's not some fucking damsel in distress. She's not a traditional Mary Jane Watson. That's why people love her. And I'm like, okay. I'll agree that you know more when it comes to this, So it's Barry. All right, Barry, you're going to be up against Isabell in the next round. Yeah, best of fucking luck there. Okay, next up we have... All right, you got Koopa Troopas versus Crash Bandicoot. Okay, on the surface, you would just think Crash Bandicoot. He's a hot dude. He's jacked. He's, got big wide shoulders. He's got a gorgeous little tuft of hair. He's got nice, impressive Eugene Levy kind of eyebrows, fingerless gloves, low-rise, 3/4 lengths, kind of a hot skater dude. One of those kind of skaters that takes his shirt off to skate, and you're like, that's pretty fucking cool and pretty hot. As Justine Stafford said, he's got little low-rise jeans that show off his cum gutters, as she put it when she was on the pod. And he's got cool little shoes. He's a cool guy. He's a bit wacky. He's a bit crazy, spins around a lot. Got a pretty good core. Can do front flips. Bit of an athlete. Might be a lot. Might end up being quite a lot to kind of date. But then you got the Koopa Troopers who are like, what they got under that shell. What they got under that shell. And when you actually knock the shell off them, they're kind of like a bit like, ooh, and they're trying to get their shell back because they're like kind of naked, And there's something quite titillating about that in a kind of, carry-on movie, Viz comic kind of way. That's not okay anymore, like a National Lampoon, summer vacation kind of way, like, you weren't supposed to see me like this, or Porky's. All the movies that you can't make anymore because, really kind of voyeur kind of watching someone getting undressed is not great, and all that. But it's quite titillating. So, look, there's definitely a lot of titillating aspects of the Koopa. I prefer the red ones, to be honest, just because of the connection to Mario Kart shells. I find the greens to be a bit basic. If you can find one with wings, even better. But look, Crash Bandicoot is an absolute snack, so it's got to be Crash. Great name as well. All right, and the last one up for this episode of the tournament is Fox McCloud from Lylat Wars and versus Yoshi. Yoshi Yoshi is sentient, but he kind of also has the saddle thing where you're like, once you put a saddle on someone, I don't want to yuck anyone's yum. People are watching this being like, I wear a saddle. What about me? I wear fucking that shit in my mouth like a horse has. I have my fella puts fucking blinkers on me. I don't want to yuck anyone else's yum, okay? But for me, I like the way he lays a lot of eggs for some reason. Don't know about that. He's probably got a cloaca, which I've never been with. But Fox McCloud, I mean, Jesus Christ. He's got a bandana on. He's got a jacket that he rolls up the sleeves. He's a fucking fox who can fly a spaceship. He's a super hot dude. All of them in Lylat Wars. I mean, I wish they were better crack. All those games, like Star Fox, they're just not funny and fun. They're very serious. And I wish there was a bit more crack. I wish there was a bit of a Disneyfication of those characters. Give them a bit more personality. They're all just for the mission. And I like that, and I admire that, but it'd be pretty intense to go out with. Yoshi, on the other hand, you'd be like, fucking punch him in the back of the head and eat a bit of fruit. Eat that fucking thing. And then shit out an egg. But it's got to be Fox. I got a thing for Fox. He's got the best name, probably, of anyone in this competition, Fox McCloud. He's Irish, or he's Scottish. Probably Irish, probably Scottish. He's got a cool, cute little bandana on. And he knows that, I mean, if he's that methodical with the spaceship and a gear stick, I'm pretty sure he could jump my bones pretty well. What's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? What am I doing? Why am I doing this? Why did I set this up? It took ages to set this up. I told Terry to be quiet next door. Be quiet. I'm doing something very important in here. What am I doing? I was like worried about, is the lighting okay for this? For this. I bought batteries. I bought batteries to do this. I bought batteries to put into a little Zoom so I could record this. I bought a new cable. I bought a new app so I could make sure that this looked well with the right shutter speed and focus and all that crap. I spent ages photoshopping all these fucking freaks into this little space window here. Why? Why have I done this? But if you've had a good time, the next episode will be live on the Patreon. But look, even if you're not into this sort of crap and you've listened all the way anyway, listen, can I recommend you subscribe to the Patreon over on patreon.com/Tony Cantwell, where you can get a a bonus podcast every single Friday. And they're as good as this. They're as good as this, and they're every single Friday. Also, when I announce new dates, I have a date in the Workman's. It's actually going to be on Wednesday. That's currently sold out. But half of the tickets were sold out on the Patreon first. And the same thing with the Cork gig that's coming up on the 20th of October, which there's tickets still available, but the early bird tickets were there on the Patreon as well. And look, even if you just want to have a chat, I chat sometimes to people on it. It's a good way to spend the equivalent of a pint a month, especially as things get a little bit colder out there. I'm not going out to the pub that much these days. I might throw Tony a few shekels because I listen to his pod and I enjoy it. And I want more of it. If that's the case, then you can do so over on patreon.com/Tony Cantwell, where you'll have round 2 of the hottest video game animals, where I will set all this up again and just hope people enjoy it. And I hope you enjoy it. And thanks very much for listening. I love you lots. All the best. Bye-bye.